because you are young. They fear you because you are the future. How fearful they must be that they shoot you, children. How powerful you must be that they fear you so much. You are powerful because you are the generation that will be free. The violence.
It was supposed to be a peaceful march, but it changed the course of South African history. In 1976, South Africa was deep in the grip of apartheid. Black South Africans were treated as glissant citizens, their land stolen, their movements controlled, their voices silenced. Education was no exception.
The Napoleonic War. That is what the syllabus says, so that is what I teach. So, what do we learn from this?
Under the Bantu Education Act, black children were forced into inferior schools with overcrowded classrooms. Underqualified teachers, and little hope of progress.
And none of your business. We won't touch that subject again, is that clear?
Then in 1974, the government passed a law that would light the match. They declared that schools must teach in Afrikaans and English, even in subjects like math and history. To many, Afrikaans was the language of oppression, the language of the very system that was trying to crush them. In response, students began organizing, quietly at first, then boldly. Leaders like Tsietsi Mashinini and other members of the South African students' movement planned a peaceful protest.
You think they put us here for education? This isn't education. This is somewhere to keep us off the streets.
Miss Masombuka gives us education.
How long do you give her?
What do you mean?
People disappear. Haven't you noticed? Mary Masombuka's one crazy teacher. How long will they let her alone to corrupt our innocent minds?
Their goal? March to the local education offices and demand change. On the morning of the 16th June 1976, thousands of students, many wearing school uniforms, gathered in the streets of Soweto. They carried signs, "Down with Afrikaans," "We want equal education," and "To hell with Bantu education."
Disperse now. You have 60 seconds to clear the area. You must go home now.
They sang freedom songs. They marched in peace.
In the morning of the 16th of June 1976, thousands of students from secondary schools in Soweto gathered to march in protest against the compulsory introduction of Afrikaans as a language of instruction. The students had organized themselves and were led by the South African Students' Movement and the Soweto Students' Representative Council, and were supported by the Black Consciousness Movement. The protest was peaceful, but police opened fire, and over 500 people were killed in the events that followed.
The police came, not to listen, but to stop them. In Orlando West, they blocked the road. Tear gas was fired, then bullets. One of the first to fall was just 12 years old. Hector Peterson. His name shook the world, not through words but through a photo. A young boy's body, carried by Mbuiza Makubo, his sister Antoinette, running beside them. That image traveled the world, and it exposed the cruelty of the apartheid regime. The protest didn't end in Soweto. They spread to the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, everywhere. Young people stood up. Many never came back. Hundreds were killed, some were tortured.
They took us to a big room. They told us to take off our clothes, all our clothes. They told us to lie down on the floor. Then many police came in. They whipped us with stumbles. until we bled. When they were tired, more police came in. They whipped us again.
Some disappeared forever. By the end of that year, more than 500 people were dead. Most of them were students. The world took notice. The picture of Hector was on newspapers, on TV, in every conversation. Countries began to speak out. Sanctions, boycotts, pressure. Inside South Africa, the youth became the heartbeat of the struggle. Some went into exile. Some joined the armed fight. All carried the flame of 1976 in their hearts. Today, we call the 16th of June Youth Day. It's not just a public holiday, it's a reminder. Those students wanted books, not bullets, a future, not a funeral. And their courage, it still lives in the youth of today. So on this day, we remember Hector, we remember Tsietsi, we remember them all, the known and the unknown. But more than that, we remember what they stood for, and we ask ourselves, are we living up to their sacrifice?